we've seen teams rise up, or rather leagues rise up, because they've done so well in the Europa League and with the way Italian teams performed there last season. But I want to go very quickly, since he mentioned Arsenal. If you're preparing a team for the weekend, right, all the money in the Premier League, now teams seem that it's more important to get the result in the Premier League, and they're sacrificing it against some of these smaller teams in the Champions League, not fielding their best starting 11.
We saw it with Liverpool.
Can you imagine,
Liverpool
can you imagine all this money in the Premier League and they're only sending 3 teams out to the Champions League? That's the way it's going to look.
Well, we're going to get to Arsenal, because we do have to start with City, because we want to continue mentioning those Italian teams as well, and Juventus and City at home with a perfect start against Juventus, who've had this slow start, and yet it goes in Juve's favour.
They come into Manchester City, who were the hottest team in English football, being revered for everything that they brought to the dance in a really stylistic way. This Juve team came in at the bottom of their well.
Probably haven't been in a worse position in years.
They really, and technically were drawn up so beautifully, but came out as well. I love the way Juventus started this game. They weren't the shell that I thought Roma was. Juve on the road, Matteo, fabulous. And Morata, that finish was sweeter than the moonlight in Tuscany.
United, you don't think they're a little bit unlucky, though, against PSV?
No.
Because, to be fair, it wasn't the worst showing from them. Do you think we're seeing some of their frailties, though, in the players that they did bring in?
Here's the thing that bothers me, Kane, and this applies to all the lads on the table here, is United are one of the top 3 biggest clubs in the world, alongside Real and Barcelona. When Barca and Real go to somewhere like PSV, you're actually expecting them to win.
Yeah.
At worst, you're expecting a draw. I mean, they go to Roma. Roma's the second best team in Italy last year. They got Roma on the ropes, 70% possession. They destroy them, and we're saying fantastic Roma performance. Man United should be doing the same. They go to PSV, they get beat 2-1. I've got no excuse for it. They should not be in that situation. I'm sorry.
Especially PSV lost most of their key players from last season. Absolutely, yeah.
Hold on a minute, Arsenal. What's your excuse for that?
Come on,
Speaking of transfers, again, it goes back to they spent all of their money. They spent their only money really on Peter Cech.
Yeah.
I think it's a little too harsh to blame Ospina for the performance here. I think, again, it goes to the lack of a center back. I think it goes to the lack of a center midfielder. You saw how they changed when they brought in Coquelin later. Things started to firm up.
So they
losing Giroud hurt.
You say they spent all of that money on Cech, correct? Why didn't he use him, to Matteo's point earlier? Why is he resting his goalkeeper?
See, in my mind, Ospina is as good a goalkeeper as you would need. Cech's the type of guy you want when you're in the semifinals and the final. That's that type of difference.
Wouldn't you want him now, though? I mean, wouldn't you want your best players
in my mind, you have
the
a
most
cup
important
keeper.
competition?
That's not the reason they lost. Giroud with another momentary lapse.
Yeah.
But again, you take a look, and it comes out today. Was it $300 million that they have just put into the bank, Arsenal? I mean, are they planning on building another stadium?
Yeah, they've got the money. But what about with Arsenal? 6 changes in that game. I mean, that for me is where they lost the game. The amount of changes.
But it's not the amount of changes, it's the people that they're bringing in. Now, maybe if Wilshere was healthy, that might have been a little bit less of a drop, but Arteta's not at that level anymore. They need someone to try and spell Giroud. Welbeck's not there just yet.
Right.
I think Sanchez had a good game. I think you take a look at Cazorla and also the way that they've been playing this entire season, absolutely brilliantly. They lack a spine.